everything you know about espresso is wrong. Are you happy with that? Is that engaging enough? I really want to provide value for these people, so we want to keep moving. Well, maybe not everything, but for sure you've heard some, if not all of the myths that I'm about to debunk. So get ready to fill your cup and your brain with some freshly extracted espresso knowledge. Can you believe they really teach people that espresso dies after 30 seconds? I mean, what the f? Let's go! Myth number 1. Espresso has more caffeine than regular coffee. I mean, yes, drop by drop, espresso has more caffeine than regular coffee. But there's volume to consider too. A standard shot of espresso contains 30 to 50 milligrams of caffeine, while an 8-ounce cup of regular brew coffee has around 95 milligrams of caffeine. So you will have to drink 2 to 3 shots of espresso to equal the amount of caffeine in a cup like this one. So you see, at the end of the day, it depends on volume. And unless you're ordering like a 20 ounces latte with 4 shots of espresso, you will always be getting less caffeine from espresso shots. Myth number 2. Espresso has to be extracted in exactly 25 seconds. Well, not really. Worrying about extraction time before distribution or dosing is like putting your shoes before your socks and then asking yourself, what went wrong? The extraction time of espresso is an important factor in determining the flavor profile of your shot. However, there is no hard rule that states that it has to be 25 seconds. A good espresso shot can take anywhere between 22 to even 40 seconds. Even James Hoffmann has said this before.
I don't really consider time to be a variable that we change. I consider time to be an output, a result of the variables that we change.
Extraction time is just one of many variables, and quite frankly, the less important, especially in comparison with flavor and aroma. Myth number 3. Espresso is a type of bean or a type of roast. Nope. No signature blend made for espresso is exclusive for espresso. Your pour over is not gonna clog, your stovetop is not gonna explode if you use espresso beans. Every bag of coffee you've ever bought could have been espresso beans if only you had used them to make espresso with them. I know we're bombarded with espresso blend bags of coffee, and as a coincidence, they also tend to be darker roasted. This is why people might believe that these are beans for espresso and these are not acceptable. However, in reality, you can make espresso with light or medium roasts just the same as you would with this type of beans. Remember, in the end, espresso is just a brewing method. Myth number 4. Espresso is unhealthy. Well, everything in excess is unhealthy, isn't it? And of course, if you're sensitive to caffeine, that's another story. However, espresso itself is not unhealthy. 1 cup of black coffee like this one can have just like 1 calorie. Espresso is also fat-free and contains a lot of antioxidants, like 5 times more than red wine and at least 10 times more than green tea. The story changes once you start adding sugar, syrups, creamer, milk, you name it. That's when things get just a tiny bit different. So if you're just gonna drink black coffee, get to brewing. Science has your back. Myth number 5. You can make espresso without an espresso machine. In a word, no. In more words, no, you cannot. I know, we have this idea that you can make espresso with a moka pot or an AeroPress, but let's be clear here. I'm sure you can see the differences between these 2 shots. What essentially makes an espresso machine distinctive is pressure. The fact that this machine can produce 7 to 10 bars of high pressure, forcing water through ground coffee in a matter of seconds. Granted, you can argue that moka pots use a slight amount of pressure, but it's only 1.5 to 2 bars. It's nowhere near an espresso machine. Pour-overs rely on gravity to pull water through the filter. The French press infuses coffee grounds to create flavor. See what I'm coming from? In the end, if you want espresso at home, you'll need to spend the money on the machine. Myth number 6. You need an expensive espresso machine to pull quality shots. As long as your espresso machine is able to consistently output at least 9 bars of pressure, that's all you really need. Everything else is just extra. While high-end espresso machines can give you stability and certainly produce impressive espresso shots, it's possible to achieve quality results with a more affordable one, or even with manual brewing methods. In my case, I use a Gaggia Classic Pro that costs around $500. I love it, and it gives me everything I need for my home setup. Drop a comment if you would like me to make a video about the Gaggia Classic Pro, and if I already made it, there should be a link around here. The key to pulling a quality shot of espresso is using fresh beans. ground immediately before brewing, and using the right grind size. Other factors for a good shot of espresso include water quality, tamping technique, dosing, distribution, temperature, so many other things that you should take into consideration. So start with an entry-level espresso machine, buy fresh beans, and improve your skills. Myth number 7. Espresso shots die after 30 seconds. Can you please explain that to me? How so? Does it become radioactive or something? The worst thing that will happen to your shot is that it will get cold. And that's why we preheat the cups, right? Aesthetically, the crema on the surface of the shot will start to dissipate and the flavors will become less vibrant. But it doesn't happen in 30 seconds. With all of this being said, you should always aim to serve your shot as soon as possible. Espresso shots are best enjoyed fresh, but the flavors will not necessarily die after 30 seconds. Otherwise, when you're at home, brewing with your affordable single boiler espresso machine, does it mean that you'll never be able to enjoy a good latte? Are you dead yet? You look pretty much alive to me. Espresso is but a little corner in the great world of coffee, and there are simply so many concepts that are unfounded. To learn more about useful knowledge to you as a home barista, go click on this video. Thank you so much for watching.